Hi, welcome back.
Hey everyone.
We are so excited to have you here. We are Coffee and One Thing. This is Team Beery, and we are caffeinated and motivated.
Ready to roll.
We are ready to roll. We are going to be talking to you about what do you need to know about appraisals.
Yeah, what is it like?
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Why should I worry?
What do you need to know?
Which has been our topic this month.
It is our topic this
Yes.
month.
Last week we talked about some quick ideas to increase home value. We've talked about tips and tricks to prepare for when the appraiser comes to your house. Wes was here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gave us his perspective. He's an appraiser.
He's an appraiser. He's been
Was
pretty
cool.
awesome.
Go back, check out that episode.
Yep. In the
24.
last episode,
24.
I did a really bad pun or joke. So if you didn't like it, or if you did like it, just let us know.
Let us
that's
know.
right.
It's always fun. It's always we're just
Send card.
send a card.
Comments.
Send a card to Scott and let him know how much.
No, don't send me any cards.
Send Scott a love note.
Yes.
But anyway, let's go. Let's go.
Okay.
Not
into
as
what are
caffeinated as we were, maybe. I don't know.
we are very.
Maybe we're too caffeinated.
But
So what should we know?
what should you know?
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I interrupt this broadcast to tell you about our coffee of the month.
Oh, yes.
Our coffee of the month is Gold Coffee Company. It is a light version of Kona coffee. Elaine says it's delicious.
Love it.
And it comes in this beautiful, colorful box.
There
Coffee
it is.
of the month.
Take it away, Scott. What's
Yes.
our next? What's our topic
Now
here?
you can talk.
What if your property doesn't appraise?
Oh,
Oh,
Well, too bad.
that's
So sad. End of story.
Dreaded.
the dreaded.
Dreaded.
It's dread. It is. Whether you're the
Whether
listing
you're-
Whoever
agent,
you are.
No matter
the
who you
buyer's
are,
agent,
it's
the
just a
buyer,
bad
it's
situation
just-
all
it's
around.
No
just-
fun.
Yeah.
It stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's only 3 ways that it can be handled. Only
Okay.
3.
Yes.
Tell us.
You can either, the buyer can go up in value and pay more than what the appraised value is.
Right.
The seller can come down to the appraised value
Right.
and make it work. Or they can meet in the middle. Those are the 3. The last choice is the buyer walks away, which nobody wants.
No.
So
Right.
those are your choices, and it's a tough choice to make.
Yeah.
I have found, and I'm sure we're all on the same page, that as a listing agent, when you're helping a seller prepare for this, there are things that we do and that those things make a difference.
Right.
It's not like we can always, it's not, yeah. It's like we're putting our best foot forward with all of our research as a realtor and the information we have on hand to provide. This is why we feel like this is the value of this property.
Right.
And then that gives the appraiser just some information about, because we've had situations where
Yeah.
the appraiser's not familiar with that neighborhood, because what happens is, right, appraisers are all in this big pool and they get randomly assigned a job. Well, we've had an appraiser who their main territory was Tolleson and Buckeye and
Right.
Avondale.
Right.
They may not be familiar with Gilbert.
Right.
And so we help put that information into a packet to assist.
And you help them get familiar with the area that they're assessing.
But there is another way it can go, and this has happened to me twice, where either the agents all stepped in to help out,
True.
because the appraisal wasn't quite high enough, or the lender actually stepped in and reduced their fees.
But you can't accept that. You can't expect that.
No, but obviously the
Everyone worked
appraisal
together.
wasn't
Yeah.
so low that everybody. If it's too low, no, that's not going to work. If it's a
Yeah.
big spread, but if it wasn't that much, it worked out.
But
Well, like that. So the lender is on the buy side, right? And
Right.
so the buyer may have not had any cash to
Right.
bring to the table and say,
Or
hey,
even
I'll,
more cash.
I'll bring several $1,000s to the table to make this deal happen and, to be equitable. And so the lender helped out their client, the buyer, by reducing their fees and making the numbers work.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It's not something you expect, but it is.
Right.
It does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a wonderful
That's a great story.
Story
Yeah.
of teamwork.
Right, for sure.
Yep.
Because you
Definitely.
figure it out. But at the end of the day, those are the 3 scenarios that really are the way it typically will go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's one of those things, like in my mind, thinking about it, it's much easier. And there have been times, right, where we've had an appraisal review
Oh, yeah.
and
And
value
fought-
has been adjusted
and
and
fought
fought
to get our-
to have the value adjusted on the
Right.
appraisal. But it's so much easier to prepare up front
And have it priced correctly to begin
and
with.
have it priced correctly to begin with than to try to fight that
After the fact.
after the
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah. And that's a big one, for sure. For
So.
sure.
What else?
So
What
when
else?
so when you're doing an appraisal, you use
What is-
something called
yeah.
comps.
Yeah. Term.
And I've had
We
people
throw
go,
around.
What is a
What
comp?
does that mean?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you enlighten us? What are comps?
What the heck is a comp?
What the heck is a comp?
Well, comp is short for comparable.
Right.
And as a real estate agent, we put together, say you call us and say, I'm thinking about selling my house. Will you come over and let's talk about it? We put together a report or a presentation to talk about. We do the research and say, okay, we're looking at your neighborhood and what recently has sold in your neighborhood. How similar is it to the property that you own? And it's called a market comparison analysis. And
CMA.
so that's what a comp is
Yeah.
we're looking, of course, it's easier when you're in a subdivision,
Right.
right? Because you will have other houses that are
Likely
similar
similar.
floor plans, right?
And
If you're-
similar update.
Right.
Yeah, or they definitely start out,
At least
Right.
starting
Similar.
the same. Yeah. Yeah.
right? But we're looking for, okay, what are properties closest in square footage, closest in usage? So there is a difference between a 3-bedroom and a 4-bedroom.
Or a single level and a two.
A single level and a 2-story. And
Right.
we're weeding
Well, and a
through
difference
all of that
for when
information.
they sold too. I mean, you try to get them.
Yes,
90
a property
days
that,
back,
well,
but
especially in today's market,
Right.
but in any market, really, a property that sold a year ago
Isn't really a comp anymore.
isn't a comp anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I like to look definitely 90 days. I even try to squish it down in our current market to 60 days.
you can.
Right.
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah.
So a comp is another property super similar in usage that we use as, okay, this sold, has closed at this value. We know someone will pay that price.
Right.
Right.
We have a history of it.
We
Yeah.
have the history.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's
Yeah.
to answer the question, why does it matter to use current comps? Basically.
Oh, yeah.
So you kind of
Right.
answered that.
'Cause-
Kinda
well,
touched
it's
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, this market has been a little,
Our market
little-
is this year
what? How?
40, almost 40% in 1 year.
That's
Right.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yep. And from all indications, it's
It's
not
not
gonna
changing. Yeah.
I read an article this last week that they plan on, this was national, but plan on housing prices going up another 22% next
Right.
year.
Right.
Over next year.
Over next year. Which tells you, like, if you are a buyer, you need to be thinking now and not waiting because
Yes.
you
Well,
just-
if you wait, you're
you might get priced out.
priced out, or your current circumstances change, and you can't.
Right.
You qualify now,
That's true.
but you may not qualify then.
That's true.
Based on circumstances or market changing,
Mm-hmm.
job, things like that.
True.
Yeah.
I always say everything is working out for you.
Yeah.
And that you make the best decision with all of the information that you have right now, and just know that that's what you're supposed to do right now.
Right.
Right. Well, when people say, well, when's the best time to buy? It's when you're ready.
100%.
Yeah.
Or sell.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So, one more question. What does waiving the appraisal mean, or the appraisal contingency mean, which
That gets sticky.
that could be a cold,
That gets
that's
really
a,
sticky.
could be a
I
complex
think
answer,
appraisal
not-
contingency is a good place to start. An
Right.
appraisal contingency is in the contract, in the Arizona contract that we use, provided by our association. And it puts in language that when you are going to purchase a property and you are getting financing for that property, that your purchase is contingent upon you qualifying for the financing. And part of the qualification that lender has is what is the value, and is the value there?
Yes.
Because a lender, well, makes sense, right? You go to the bank and you want a loan, and you say, "Oh, my house is worth $200,000." Well, they want proof,
It needs to show that it is worth that much.
And the appraisal
Yeah.
is their way of providing themselves proof and insurance
Right.
that it does
Right.
have value.
So when you waive that, that means that you do still get an appraisal, which I think a lot of people get confused about that.
No.
Right.
There is still an appraisal done
Because you're getting a loan.
because you're getting a loan.
Right.
But you're saying that you're not going to worry about what that value is, that you are making an offer and that's the price you're paying no matter what.
Right.
And-
So if you're buying a home that's $425,000 and the appraisal comes in at $450,000, you're paying $425,000 for that house.
Right.
Right.
But vice versa.
But
So let's
in
say
reverse.
you make the offer for $425 and it appraises at $400. You're still buying it for
At $425.
$425.
You just have to have the cash.
The cash for the difference. And that's what people kind of get a little hung up on, because if you're putting 20% down, or not even 20% down, you might be strapped and you could put yourself in a pickle.
Right.
So
Right, because that's in addition to the 20% you're already. I mean, if you've, depending on your loan program, but if you've qualified and your plan is to put 20% down and to get a loan for that 80%, and then the appraisal comes in low, and you still have to bring $25,000,
to make
in
it
our
whole.
scenario,
Yeah,
to make it whole, to meet that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It could become
That's a chunk of
situation.
change.
And so that's why we always counsel our people to make sure that everything is in place before we let them waive the appraisal, because
Right.
it's a real danger.
Yeah.
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 And this
Or you
market
can
is
waive it
changing
only
a
at-
little bit to where you may not need to do that anymore.
Right now.
Yeah.
But also, you can waive it up to a certain amount.
And there is that option too. It's a totally different
that
language.
you
but yeah.
agree to. So say you're buying a house for $425,000. You agree to, if the appraisal comes within $10,000, I'll bring an extra $10,000 to make up
Make
the
it whole.
difference.
Right. But if it's a $20,000 gap, you're not.
You're only
agreeing to
bringing
that.
10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you renegotiate.
And
Okay.
that's what real estate is. It's all negotiation.
Right.
It's a game. Negotiation game.
It's the dance. It's not
It's
a game.
dance. Okay.
Oh, I like that.
Because you're giving and you're taking.
Right.
Right? So, well, that's about all we got for you on what is an appraisal. So if you know somebody who's looking to buy or sell a house, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our podcast, and always use
A very good team.
Have a good
Thanks,
day.
everyone.
Bye.